Hi, David.
Look, everybody's here. It's like the whole.
Yes. Here's the story of a man named Questy. Yes, it's all of us here.
It's very nice to see you.
Great to see you too, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Questlove Supreme. I'm your host, Questlove. Hey guys, when can we call it the award-winning Questlove Supreme?
5 years ago.
Oh, really? I like that. That's
right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the illustrious award-winning Questlove Supreme.
There you go.
Actually, if you're really good, we might make you part of the team. So that's the joy of.
It's coming.
Yes, we might just steal you away.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we are with our Team Supreme members. Sugar Steve, how is life?
It's like quarantine, but you get to leave the house and do whatever the heck you want and work on all the shit you ever wanted to work on. And the first single from your record dropping this Friday from Plum on JMI is coming out. Brown Doves on Friday. Questlove.
You should have seen Sean G's face when he learned that I have a jazz record coming out. So
yeah, he knows about it.
Anyway, unpaid bill.
Yeah, man.
Yo.
How's life post Tony?
Great. I didn't win shit. The Tonys were wonderful. It's
who
Whiskey
won?
Wednesday.
Who won?
Who won what?
All of them. I guess Aunt Juliet didn't win. Y'all didn't get it.
Aunt Juliet did not win a Tony, but that's okay.
Okay.
The doors are still open.
Y'all still the shit though.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Who wound up winning? I'm just curious.
Kimberly Akimbo won a lot of Tonys, mostly for best musical, etc., etc. It was a weird thing. It was very.
It's called Kimberly
Akimbo.
What's the play called, Bill? That's what I think he's asking.
Oh, that's what it's called. It's called Kimberly Akimbo. I wish I could tell you something about it. I have not seen it, so I don't know. So I'm just gonna drink whiskey on Wednesdays. And
There you go, Kimberly Akimbo. Laia, how are you? I know we're in the same city, and I failed to tell you I've been here for a week.
You know, I want to give you the shade, friend. I do.
What can I say, ladies and gentlemen?
Let's go.
A very good friend of mine, a very, very good friend of mine is coming to visit us on the show. I will say that our guest, his namesake, he is the founding member and of one of the most powerful. Well, the way that laugh came, I hope you are the founding member of the band that's your namesake. So anyway, one of the most powerful, one of the most creative, one of the most exciting, one of the most loved, popular bands in all of the world. I will say that this band has, a mixture of cult following and mainstream, because the numbers are there. You know, they have mainstream following as well. We all know the hits. We know Crashing to Me, Ants Marching, Too Much, Crush.
Well, are they going?
Yes. I also just realized that this group, they've released 9 studio albums, but however, they are the first band to have 7 albums debut at number 1. And he's giving us the honor right now of celebrating with him their newest album, which is entitled Walk Around the Moon. What can I say, man? One of the nicest guys on earth. If you ever have the pleasure of opening for this guy, he will actually introduce you and stand on stage and watch you perform in front of the audience, the crowd of 15. But what more can I say? Dave Matthews is on Questlove Supreme.
That was extremely generous. That
well, you're generous
and very true. I mean, generous, but also precisely true.
I have a hilarious story. So when we first started opening for Dave, one of our very first shows was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And there were I guess as far as the comp ticket situation was concerned, I believe each member, because it was Philadelphia and our families were coming, like I think each band member got 8 tickets. And the thing was, I didn't have anyone coming to see, so I had 8 tickets, but our tour bus was kind of parked where the general public could see us. Like we weren't in the tunnel with Dave's 42 trillion tour buses. So we were kind of we were where like his crowd could see us. And there were so many people there that were like desperate for tickets. Like, anything. I need tickets. I would take my kids to see Dave Matthews. So I was like, well, I got 8 tickets. I'll just give them to him. So I'm in Philadelphia in my own town. Now it's 2003. So yes, we already won a Grammy. We're not,
Brag.
You guys were
no.
killing. It was so exciting that you guys were playing with us.
Well, here's the thing though. So I'm figuring like, wow, I'm watching this dad struggle to get him and his 2 kids in. I'm actually going to walk up to him and give him my 4 tickets that he needs. And
I know what's going to happen, but I know it's going to be funny.
it was such a pie in the face moment, because it was like, I don't know if he just wasn't used to acts that generous or anything, but he did not trust that my tickets were legit. I was like, well, I'm the opening act. I'm in the Roots. And he was like, huh? I said, I'm one of the opening acts. See, that's my tour bus. Here, I'm giving you these 4 tickets. And it's like he took them, but it was almost like he was waiting for that proverbial anvil to fall on his head. He still stood there. I was like, well, you're going to go in the stadium, right? It's like, yeah. But it was as if I were going to walk away, he was still stood there and been like, all right, does someone have 4 tickets so I can get inside the Dave Matthews? Like, it was as if he did not believe that. So he blocked his blessing. I hope he did not get in and realize that he had really good seats. But
I
anyway.
wish, I wish you could have just taken them back. It seems like a little bit of a rude response to.
Well, it's Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is very non-trusting.
Yeah,
especially of kind gestures.
That part.
But it's also, hometown, so you'd feel like
I thought, you know what, Dave, I'm just realizing that I've had some of the most interesting career pivots courtesy of you.
What that mean?
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah, like what?
No, it just hit me that I once fired an assistant at a Dave Matthews show because you remember this, right?
Yeah. Oh,
should we beep it out?
Yeah. We'll beep.
Yeah, say, do you remember?
She beat me in Scrabble, and like, so I guess the rumor around Philadelphia is that I'm a sore loser at Scrabble, and I fired my assistant. But it was just it was a disrespectful way that she gloated. So.
And what does Dave have to do with that? Why are you blaming Dave?
I immediately hired her.
Wait a minute. Yo, Steve. Do you know how we got?
I thought it was an escort service.
No, Dave Matthews.
I remember. See.
That's funny because I remember.
We stole from Dave Matthews. Like,
oh my God.
Hey, we can go on forever. Should we beep out his name as well?
Probably.
Always. Yes.
Hey, well, Joe, you have to. You want to? Well, it must have turned out perfectly.
It'll just sound more edgy if we have a beep on it. So anyway, how you doing, man? What's going on?
I'm good. We're on the road, except I'm home. My son just had his birthday. He turned 16, so that's sort of where my head is, in a way, because it's a kind of exciting thing for me.
Wait, you're conducting a podcast interview in the middle of your son's 16th birthday?
No, the day after. So,
okay.
I would have. I think we scheduled this again and again, but for both of us. But I wouldn't have put it on his birthday because he. I mean, not that he would have cared because he didn't. I was available for him, but he wasn't as available for me because he's 16. And then,
so now you're in dad territory.
No, what's the 16-year-old like?
That was a little bit expressive. I mean, there's times I'm not selling him short, but he's busy,
right?
So there's times when he's not available.
13 to 22. I get it. I was that person too.
There. So, and I know that I was busy. I didn't want to abandon my mother. But there was a lot of stuff that I had to experiment with, and she understood, and now
I get it.
I think I understand. So, but we're touring. Um, it's the season, and for a couple of days, and so that's what I'm doing, and I'm happily here and very happy to finally talk to you. I just have to say, I'm mad. You know that I'm an insane fan of yours and of the Roots, but also
likewise.
So when I heard that you were thinking that I would be an interesting guest, I calmly said, affirmative. Calmly.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. The love is mutual. Wait, can I ask, does touring at this level for you ever get tiring? Because at least for me, everything that I will say there's probably two acts that I've learned the most from in terms of touring. And that is the Beastie Boys when we really first started touring. And then you were pivotal and when we really got established. And just the small things that we didn't know that could happen on a tour. Like you were the first band that we saw that had like communication microphones on stage so you could talk to each other. And I was like, wait, I don't have to yell anymore. Like, go to the next part. Skip the third verse. Like,
I have to address this because this is serious stuff. This is serious. I was on the side of the stage. We were up. It was a rainy day. I can't remember, but we were both there. We just talked backstage just quickly as we were going. But I have to say this. I'd never been on in-ears with you guys. And I mean, and heard you guys talking to each other like that.
Right.
And hear you shouting the changing arrangement. It was my head. I was just
it's crazy.
Like, well, first of all, I will never take that much responsibility for anything spontaneously. That's terrifying to me.
Because you don't do that.
No, it was you. No, well, I mean,
we do say, let's change this, let's do this. What about it? We go and we let things happen. But you're actually turning
he's
all over the place.
No, but you did something you did something even better than that. You were cracking jokes. And I was like, wait a minute. We can actually crack jokes. And, you know, there was a turnaround or a shift where for us, it was like the same grind, the same, you know, just rigmarole or whatever. And after we got done touring with you, I was like, yo, I want to do the same thing Dave Matthews does, the whole communication thing. And then suddenly our ability to joke with each other in one microphone while still doing like the show, the audience is getting the show that they're getting. But it's also like, yo, third row, far left. He just fell down. He spilled wine all over. Ooh, y'all see that? Like,
that is a very it is. I do think that this, I have to say this. I think that being able to talk to each other is it opens up. When we figured out that was possible, it did suddenly create this sense of we were worried a little bit some of the time that there was going to be times when, you know, people would zap in and they could pull, someone was going to get on our wavelength and they're going to hear somebody puke, and then I'd be like, oh no, God, and it would come out, you know.
Right. You know, like Enrique Iglesias.
Yes. So I mean,
that happened to Enrique Iglesias.
Really?
That's that, and I hear about those things. I mean, I'll, you know, often I'll say something to the audience, and even if it's earnest, and I mean it sincerely, and it's something about whatever, something that's happened, I'll turn around and look at the band and then say something that is totally, it's just so everyone just so, you know, so it's something you have you turn around and say something that I don't, until, you know, we've been on this podcast for a long time. Right. Completely at home. I'm not going to go, but it does feel like has a weird thing of connects to the music in a way that I think may have happened in time, would have been easier for it to happen in smaller venues when we were starting out or in a different band, you sitting around all playing together. Then you can shout things or play the bridge or let's do this or what about those titties or whatever it is, which
that was our conversation earlier. Sorry, you heard
Yes.
that.
Yeah, exactly. But once it was loud and we couldn't really communicate, that whole spontaneity that happens, it sort of goes away and the conversation is only in the music. And so I do think that was I know what you mean, but then that it flipped around, and then when I saw you up in wherever and then watched you doing this conducting thing, I was like, wow, that's amazing. Now that I know that rightly,
well, I live for nothing more than those serious moments, those benefits, those really earnest, quiet moments. I live for those moments because, yes, in the communication microphone, I'm gonna say my goal is to make them break and crack up while being forced to keep a serious face. Like,
that's mean.
I love doing it. That's my favorite thing, especially if there's a boring guest on the Tonight Show. That's when I'll really come alive and provoke them. I'll have sound effects like snoring sounds and
of
That's
course
dope.
you would take it to the next level because first of all, now I'm instantaneously paranoid, but that because not that it's been a while since, so if when you talk to Jimmy, say, well, just invite me on.
Let him be a couch guest. I wanted to know, like, your song structures. How limiting is it to do television if you only have a 4-minute and 30-second window? Because, from my experiences of being at Dave Matthews shows, like, you guys cook for 6 to 8 minutes on songs, which, like the solos are the best part of the
both.
I think that's true.
That's the best part.
It is my favorite part, is when everything gets cracked open, and then we can be spontaneous, and when the even vocally, when things when melodies change. But I don't know, it's a weird television is very stressful.
Okay.
When you 2.5, 3 minutes, I don't know, I always am worried the mix is going to sound as bad as it might, and then I'm worried that I'm going to suck, and then I'm worried how can you do anything in 2.5 minutes? It is a panic. It is panic. Right. So anytime there's an opportunity to mock myself, which is I
often.
I like that. That's what I'm glad that Fallon, when I come on that show, then I can
have fun.
You remember
have a little fun.
Yeah, when I came on that show and did the trap thing.
Yes, and you guys were singing yes, I do remember that.
So I got it, but I have to tell you, I worked so hard on that Cardi B tune to make sure that even though I was just goofing off on the guitar, I wanted to get every single I wanted to have every single, because I didn't want people to think what song is. I wanted very specifically.
We knew
to someone to know what it was, because it is. I'm very loose about sticking to the script.
Mm-hmm.
But in that instance, I felt like the script was the only thing that would make it work. So I had to at least be, otherwise it would have been, I could have, if being the normal me, I could have phoned it in, and people have been like, I have no idea what he's doing. We have no idea what music he's singing.
Right.
So I had to be much more strict than I am with my normal music, which is I mean, I don't even know if I get my lyrics right.
So wait, when you did that piece with Cardi and stuff, your 16-year-old is your oldest kid?
He's my baby.
He's your baby. So this is good. So what did your kids say about you doing that? And did
Dad?
No, he laughed. He thought it was pretty fun. He actually did. He even was nice enough to say, it didn't sound right, but he said it sounded pretty good, Dad.
Are your children, are they musicians?
My son plays the piano and he plays the guitar, but and he enjoys it, but he doesn't like to do it. As far as I know, one time all the kids, there's a party and all the kids were playing their piano. Some kids were better than other kids.
Right.
And the next day I said to him, I wish you got up and played the piano. And he looked at me and he said, Dad, I will never, ever do that.
What?
I was like, but it was kind of interesting, but I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
It is, I understand what he's saying. He's saying, I'm not, there's a different world and I'm not jumping in it right now.
So you don't even expect that. Don't even expect
Don't even.
Well,
I'm going to go play football.
I was forced in the family business. Like I would just naturally think that, any progeny or whatever, like you just automatically, I figure at least by 10 or 12, like he's going to sit on a high chair and start playing with you. And eventually, I mean, in your mind, would you like that? Or is that like, no, just me, Carter and like Stefan, like this is our thing and our thing only? Or I wouldn't mind if I don't know if I'd want my son to come and I mean, I would love it if he wanted to, but it's not something that I think about. I'd love him to find, he has his own musical, he has a pretty wide perspective on of the kind of music he enjoys, and he always surprises me. But that's what I want him to find music the way I did. I guess I came from a family, there were no musicians, but my mom, listened to a lot of classical music. My parents did, and then also some folk music, and then I found my way. My brother turned me on to music. I think I found a Beatles record or something, and so I kind of felt that's kind of the way I found music. And so there's been music around my kids and in our house. Snap!
He answered it without asking.
Wait!
Yeah.
I was like, snap! Wait a minute, we're doing a podcast.
Yes.
Wait a minute!
Oh, you thought you and Dave were just talking and catching up?
Wait a minute. Wait, what? Oh my God! 28 minutes.
Right.
It's a new
Dave.
record.
Yo,
Wait. Dave,
can we each have one word of the question?
What happened?
Stop.
Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
Okay. What
was
Your
First musical.
memory.
Wait a minute. Time out.
That's usually the first question we ask everybody, Dave.
Wait.
I like
Wait a minute. Hang on. This is the level of comfort I have with Dave Matthews. I legit forgot I was doing a podcast. I let a half hour go by and I didn't even start the process.
No.
I was like, maybe he's doing his remix. Sometimes we remix it. We don't start from the beginning.
Well, I'm here, so if we have to start again, I'm happy to.
Not starting again.
But I will say this.
But the question was, what was your first musical memory?
So I don't know. I would like to say my first live music that I remember, like I think it was my first memory because I think I was sitting between my mom's knees. I was a little kid, sort of, and on the back of a flatbed truck, Pete Seeger was playing the band, singing.
Really?
And I remember thinking, that guy's awesome. And he was so weird. He was such a weird, but he was so friendly. And so that's my first, like, I feel
Which country was this, Dave? Because you've lived in a lot of places. Where were you when you saw it?
like upstate, not upstate New York, but north of New York City. So he was in Croton quite a bit, and in that area, and so
was it Turn or
I can't remember what song. I don't think it was. I can't remember what songs he was playing. I just remember thinking this, and people were, it was relaxed and everything. But then I think the first band, when I was 5 years old, I remember liking the Jackson 5. So I'm not entirely sure whether that was because why I fell in love with them was because they had a 5. Right. Right.
5.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
5. They have the name 5. So, but then I really did love them, and then I fell in love with the Beatles, and I became I would say a bore until my brother opened my brain when I was about 10, and my brother turned me on to other kinds of music, and then it was the 70s, so I could listen to the radio, and you could hear, in the 70s, you could have the radio on, and it could be like, or at least, PLJ or whatever it was, it was like, it would be like John Denver, and then Marvin Gaye, and then Paul McCartney, and then, Donna Summers. And then, I remember my mom would always go to the radio when Donna Summers came on, and she'd be going, Donna Summers would be going, "I love to love you, baby." My mom like, "I don't like this song."
Right.
And then she'd wait for it to be over. But I remember my mom always running to the radio and turning off and that was the only song I could remember her response. I think it was too much. There was too much love making in that song.
All right. So this is what I want to know. And I'm asking you just your everyday life questions. Okay. All right. For our listeners, I feel like you know a lot about a person based on their Starbucks order. What is your main order at Starbucks?
An Americano with cream.
All right, what's that in English, Steve? Because you know that you got to translate for me.
Espresso with water in it. That's
Steve is our
boring.
Steve is our resident Starbucks
addict.
He goes in.
And I have a coffee shop in Seattle that everyone has the best coffee shop in the world, but this actually is the best coffee shop in the and it's called Lighthouse. And there's a lot of great coffee shops here, as much as there are everywhere, but this particular one I call it that, and it's a small little one, and so I hope that it doesn't piss them off that I just told.
Hey man,
but I get cappuccinos and lattes and macchiatos, not the one that you get at Starbucks, but the original sort of simple foam and espresso when I go there, because everything they make, even if I just get a shot of espresso, everything they make there is delicious. But if I go to Starbucks, I know it's going to be if I get a 4-shot Americano, it's going to taste exactly the same in Des Moines as it will taste in Tokyo or Yorktown Heights, New York.
Yeah.
It's not going to be any different. Because
what part of the world do you live? What part of the world are you living in now? Are you?
I'm in Seattle. I live in Seattle, so I'm between. I sort of live between Virginia and Seattle. But my children, because my wife studied medicine here, my children were born in Seattle. We ended up being here, and we like it in Seattle a lot. Yeah.
All right, so I
have one great story that made me really proud of my kids. So one of my favorite musicians is Danny Barnes. He's a banjo player out of Austin. He lives up in this area.
Fuck it.
Fuck it. I had enough. I had enough of that. My pole barn fell into my peaches. My bucket.
I'm looking him up right now.
He's so funky. Oh, fuck it.
Last time we were together 100 years ago at Sesame Street, you brought up Danny Barnes. I feel like he's a common.
I love him, but I love this story because
wait, he was on Sesame Street, Bill?
Danny Barnes was not on Sesame Street. That would be amazing. No, Dave Matthews, this person, he was on Sesame Street.
So you brought him to Sesame Street. Okay, great.
I brought him up. Yeah, I was very happy to be on Sesame Street. But anyway,
had a thing.
Some kid asked my kids if they knew Bob Marley, and I think they were asking them if they had ever heard of Bob Marley.
Mm-hmm.
But but my kids were spoiled, and I remember my daughter said they were little, and my daughter said, I don't know Bob Marley, but we know Danny Barnes. Right.
There you go.
That's my kids.
Parental win.
Effective.
That's good.
All right. My next everyday question is, what television show are you currently binging?
Oh, that's a good one.
That is a really good one. So
Yeah.
I am mad that I do like that The Last of Us thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, I want to tell you, I think people should watch this funny, I think it's Australian show. I don't know if they haven't made any more, but it's called Mr. In Between. Has anybody
This
heard
sounds familiar. Wait. What service? What is this on?
It's I think it's Mr. In Between. I like this show.
Oh, no, I just meant Hulu. Okay, Mr. M.
I don't know what it. I could be on.
Come
Hulu.
on, Dave.
You know, but sometimes you just fall into things.
It is Hulu. Yeah.
And I know there's going to be another show that I
It used to be FX. He's an FX channel. I remember this is an older show on FX.
I know that there's going to be a show that I'm watching that I have that I've forgotten.
Okay.
And then there's I just finished that what's it called? The Res Dogs. It's a cool.
Oh, about the
Reservation Dogs. Yes.
About the indigenous kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Reservation Dogs. Yes. That's a good show.
It's a really good show.
It's a lot of dope indigenous shows on streaming right now. Like they didn't include the community. It's really cool.
Really.
Oh. All right. So, can you name me all of the non-musical jobs that you've had?
This is my favorite episode of Questlove Supreme ever. It's
because I want to know him as a human being.
This is like
instead of
improv. This is
awesome.
So I was a bartender, which is I think not unusual for musicians. But I worked my way up to bartending. I started off as the salad guy, and they used to call me the nacho guy because I made more nachos than salads. And then I waited tables. I hated. That's the worst. That's the hardest job in the world. Waiting
tables.
I think it's the hardest job.
Do you have the ability to carry that tray like way above your head?
I was good at. I'm good at carrying trays, but I'm also really good when I'm overwhelmed because I'm easily overwhelmed. I'm really good at pretending that someone's not in my section until they leave.
Wait.
Excuse me.
So you got passive aggressively.
Yeah, excuse me. Can we haven't been served yet? I'm sorry, you're not in my section. I'm just going to, but I'll let your waiter know.
Hate that.
I didn't do it often, but I did do it. And I will, and I tell you that I was working on the patio, and there's a lot of rats in this particular underneath this mall. But they used to poison them. And
rats with restaurants. Okay.
I walked onto the patio where I was waiting, and I looked, and there was a group of women, and they were a little bit fancy. Well, not too fancy because they were at our restaurant, but they were a little bit fancy. And then there was a rat at their feet. So I didn't want to say, "Excuse me, there's a rat at your feet," because that would cause mayhem. I love the way. Anyway, so I waited for the rat to walk away from under their table. And it took so long. They would move their feet, like the rat would be standing on their shoe, and then they'd move their feet, and then the rat would just walk. I mean, it was so bananas.
Was it a New York rat?
Or
Charlottesville
rat? It was in Charlottesville. It was the most comfortable rat in the world. And then the rat walked out. It walked out onto to an open area, and then the ladies spotted it when it was in an open area outside the restaurant. And the lady and one of the ladies said, "A rat!" And then they all were like, "Oh no!" And then this dude came out of. It's long closed now. This dude came out of a Walmart. and he had a and I was at this story now. I was like, oh, I must stop the.
Oh,
rats.
now you care. Now you care. They did
No,
ate all their toes.
Now I can acknowledge that the rats. That if it was on, I was so happy it made it away.
Still not your section.
Anyway, it wasn't in my section, and this dude came out of the Walmart with a broom handle and a box, and then just right in front of everyone, just beat this rat to death. All these the people were like, "A rat! Oh no! Oh what? A rat!" And this dude just walked out, just as if nothing was happening. Just was like, ha, 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 ha. And people were like, "Ah!" And I was kind of stunned too. And then he just smacked it into the box and just walked away. Back, dropped the box next
back to Walmart.
Walmart, and just walked in. Not Walmart. What am I talking about? Woolworths. I said Woolworths.
Woolworths. Oh, that's a throw. Okay, that's a throwback.
Whole different.
He didn't come out of a giant mega store. He came out of the little old Woolworths. I apologize. Yes. I ruined the story by saying.
No, you didn't.
No, it's almost better.
Dave Matthews, you literally, guys, this might have to be my new format.
I love this format. Wait, that's one job. What's the other 4?
Oh shit. So I worked in a record store and it was in South Africa, and it was when oh my God, I can't believe Anita Baker's like smash album came out, and she was
Rapture. Wait, time out. Wait. Why do we get triggered, like you?
Yeah, we did. I was like, wait, what you Sorry, Dave. I know you ain't been watching the news lately, but Anita's not a game. She's not a game. She's not a game. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Inside joke.
Yeah,
we just heard her name and got scared. Like, what the fuck?
It's the Anita Baker trigger. Here we go.
This was a long time ago.
Okay.
Anyways, I apologize if I haven't been reading the paper.
But no, you're good.
Anyway,
you're
she was safe. They were so that album was just nonstop, and
hell
that was what everyone was talking. It was.
Yeah,
and the thing it was in the city in Johannesburg, and it was an interesting time because it's when like Hillbrow in Johannesburg and Yeoville in Johannesburg and downtown Johannesburg they were starting to call them gray areas, because although apartheid was still like holding on with its claws, it was everyone knew it was when de Klerk was about to.
God, I ain't heard that forever.
The president of South Africa was about to what much of the country, the white part of the country considered the great betrayal, because he was hardline apartheid guy, and then suddenly he just did. But I think he got the reports from people, and it was essentially, let go or.
Right.
It's over. Or there's going to be
held to pay. Right.
Or get out.
Yeah. So anyway, it was right around that time. So there were these gray areas where people where it was essentially, already integrated. And the police were still horrifying, and it was all that was still going on. But it was like these certain areas, like there's sort of the hip, there'd be college students and Orthodox Jews. And then anyone else that want to live there. It's just, and one Polish guy once said to me when I was in his cab in New York going to Brooklyn, he says, "You know why the Jews don't live here? The Jews don't live here because the Jews don't take shit from anybody." And I was so interesting. This I don't know why I did a weird, not good.
No, I thought that was kind of good. I don't know, Steve, Bill, but I thought
I feel like that Polish was nailed.
No, Steve?
I felt like it could
B minus.
E minus is exactly right. But anyway, it was a fucking accent. Oh, but anyway, it wasn't me. I didn't say it. So then, but I just thought it was interesting, because then I ended up living years later in a area, or with a friend in an area that had been very much like sort of a Jewish area in Johannesburg that had now become this sort of gray area, but it was still very Jewish, but it was also college kids, and it was also integrated. It was a really interesting time. And that's when I worked at this record store. I wish I could, Hillbrow Records is what it was called. And then what else? Oh, shit, this is a long story. And I drew some pictures. I did some illustrations for magazines, like brochures for like insurance companies for a little while. That's just like a small, like a local, like come and get your.
You're an illustrator, like a full.
Not really, like come and get a thermometer put in your butthole at this doctor.
And you write a cartoon of it, or
yeah, you draw a little like picture of a
thermometer and a butthole. That's it.
No, I wish it was that interesting. It was much more like
Wait, can I ask? Does your publicist approve of this interview? I feel like
they're here. They should.
They're right. They just
two thumbs up from that guy. That's a random dude giving you 2 thumbs up. That's amazing.
Can I ask a random acting question real quick? Because I'm sorry, but one of your favorite characters of mine was from Blended, and I'm just so curious if you're like an improv dude, or that's my first question about acting. But I'm just curious if you're an improv dude because it seems like you'd be amazing at it.
Well, I haven't done too much of it, but I'm willing to learn.
Really? So what's your acting? So as far as your training, what do you consider
when I was bartending, a bunch of English grads who worked in bars in Charlottesville, and other people that started. There's two. There was one called Offstage Theater, and one there was another one that wasn't in random places that I've forgotten it now, and they'll get mad at me if any of them hear this. But and then so I used to do when I was 20 in my early 20s. I used to do little acting things there, and try to figure out what the hell I was doing with myself. I wanted to do something.
Well, he was in Don't Mess with Zillion, right?
I think the last thing I did with Offstage Theater was the band was already together. I think a couple of the guys came to something I did in the bars. Leroy and Carter, I think they came to one of them. And then now if Sandler calls me, I'll do his movie.
Yeah, I was about to say y'all got a nice relationship. Oh, well, I was gonna say, what's your most fun Adam Sandler experience of all the movies that y'all have done together?
So one time, and he might not verify this because and this is it's mildly X-rated. But
yeah.
But
I put him away.
But he called me up,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, "Hey buddy, I got this one thing. I got this thing for you." And I said, he says, you got to read this. And it was actually for the part that I think Woody Harrelson ended up playing. So he obviously Adam got a better option. But
which one is
it was when Woody played the trans woman or something in
Anger Management.
Yeah.
Oh, that would Dave.
Yeah, but Woody was great.
He was good.
Anyway, so I think he was calling me about that. I'm not 100% sure, but he said, I got this part for you, and I said I'll do anything for you. I said you could dress. I said you could do anything. You're amazing. You could put a dress on, and I'd probably, want to make love to you. And he goes, whoa. And he goes, whoa, buddy. You could never ever make love to me. I'm sorry. He goes, maybe you could titty fuck my ass, but you can never go inside. You can never go in. And I was like, that's my greatest memory of Adam.
That is
of Adam Sandler.
I thought you was gonna tell us you was in Jack and Jill or whatever. I was like, no.
You could titty fuck my ass. You can never go inside me.
Also, that impression is point on.
It is point on.
That is spot on, Sandman.
So I'm sorry to be heady about this, but so everything that happened between you and Nicole Kidman was scripted?
Yeah, I mean, for the most, the stumbling was all pretty scripted. She's pretty shy, and Keith was around quite a bit too.
handsome Australian making it weird.
Awkward.
It's the funniest she's ever been. That's it.
Yeah, but she, what's interesting is how much she adores Adam Sandler, because she said when she was first coming up, she said she was on Saturday Night Live and she was terrified, and Adam was just the nicest man. And that's kind of a thing that's interesting. He's like he works as hard as anybody, but that guy is absolutely one of the nicest people in the world.
He is. He absolutely is.
David, I've been wanting to ask you this my entire life. We've talked about this before, actually. You talked the Beatles, the simplicity of melody, the simplicity of music writing. And yet when I listen to your songs, there's the time signatures are complex, the thoughts are complex, the harmonics are complex. It feels like one thought and then a different practice.
Yeah, I have learned nothing.
but
from all
we've worked together for a long time, and I think in your head and in my head, and I guess in songwriter's heads, you want to present the most simple thing, the most beautiful, simple, perfect thing. But yet, for whatever reason, you get caught up in the musicality of it all, right? And then you try to still, right? And then, but for whatever reason, you're very successful at finding that, in the end, finding the most beautiful thing regardless, right? And so that has always been my number one Dave Matthews thing your entire career, as a fan, as a person who knows you, that just I don't know how you do that. I really don't. And it's really fantastic. I don't know how better to say that in words.
Well, that's very kind. I have to say that I do go, just when you playing something, I want to say stop there and don't fuck it up. Don't change it to 5. Don't put it in 8 for no reason and then switch it to 4. What do you do? Why do I have to be so confusing? But then sometimes I can't stop myself, and then I just end up going in circles until it's too complicated. So I either throw it away or something. But I also have to say something that there have been specific times in my life when I've come up with something that's weird, a weird time signature, or it's unusual, but I feel like it, and I think a lot of it is sort of listening to some sort of Central African and West African grooves, and how and there's a lot of it sounds like it's here, but then it's actually over here, and I don't know if I understand it, but I still get inspired by it, and then I'll come up with something, and I think to myself, I think this will sound really good if Carter plays it, because Carter will come in and make something that's really unusual sound like it makes sense. And I think it's a remarkable gift. So sometimes I even go on tangents just to play for Carter, who if anyone that's listening doesn't know, is the drummer that I've been lucky enough to work with for
trust me,
we
all know Carter.
I know you guys know.
But Amir, how do you feel about a drummer like Carter? Because essentially your philosophies are completely and utterly polar opposite.
All right. So you want to know something?
Because he's more improv.
and I respect you both in so different ways, but it's a completely different thing. And it's fascinating.
Well, check this out. Here's the funny thing. So the project I'm working on right now, right, is it was me looking at these guys 93, 94, 95, 96, 90, like a period between 94 to 96. And it just hit me when I saw them, like, this is like when the second album first came out. And I saw them. So basically what Bill is explaining is that I have a very bare bones, straight pocket. And it wasn't until
the fattest
I saw you
cold-blooded
guys.
Right,
but it wasn't until I saw the earliest performance of unmentioned secret project I'm working on that it finally hit me. I was like, yo. Now I saw this at the drive-in. I saw this and then when I saw this also when they morphed into Mars Volta, and now I'm seeing it with Dave Matthews. I now know where the true creative home, where what I call gospel chop jumping belongs. Carter is the perfect musical specimen of a drummer for this particular ensemble situation where it fits like a hand in glove. The problem I have is, all right, if you were to take Carter,
he is gospel chops. You're saying,
yes, and
Yeah.
Rise
transcended gospel chops, like it's
right,
on a whole other level.
Right, he's on his, but that's the thing, but the only reason why that level of drumming would be jarring for me is if, say, a Tribe Called Quest asked for the same sort of drummer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then it would be different. But I now, like, when I saw it, then I went on an instant rabbit hole and only watched pre-99 Dave Matthews to see them at their very beginnings. And I'm like, oh shit, how come, like, you guys are actually the blueprint for where Black music is today as far as rhythmically and structurally? And I don't think you guys know that, and I don't think
that's for sure
that we know that. No, I don't think we know that. And it's just like, for me, I don't know. Like, it's just it in this very specific, like, only in Mars Volta and in the Dave Matthews Band is that level of insane drumming, like, music to my ears, where it's just perfect.
I'll just sit here and I'll just lie.
Nah.
Oh, wow, that sounds good to me.
Wait, did I not make that clear?
No, you made it clear, but it was just, but it's kind of, but it's.
Oh yes, I have a way to go around the scenic
generous
route to get to the point. Yes. What is your preferred method of songwriting?
So
do you do it alone, or do you guys get together, or?
It's a bit. There's been times when, like, the I think sometimes the best of what we do is when we're sort of when we're all together in the room, and you know, I'll find an idea, and we'll like, one of my favorite songs that I think we've ever put out is called Virginia in the Rain. And actually, it only came out a couple of albums ago. But it's just this swimming kind of feel, and it's crazy, and it's so comfortable, and everyone sounds exactly like everyone sounds, but it's kind of a magical thing, and the way that the timing kind of has this upside down thing. And when we were first doing it, I think we all kind of almost had different ones, you know. It was like this, but the writing on that was all of us, you know, in the same space. And then there's times when I'll come in with a sort of almost finished song, and then also I don't, it's not maybe traditional, but I think it's probably more common now, but there's a song like on the new record, Walk Around the Moon. And obviously it was harder for all of us to get into a room together in the pandemic because everyone's losing their minds. And so that was sort of a restrictive situation. But you know, in traditional terms, I'd finished the song Walk Around the Moon, and then Carter came in. He was the first person to come in because the producer Rob said we should get Carter to play on this. We hadn't planned on making a record, and but when Carter he listened to that, and he did his funny sort of writing down the arrangement, and then he went out, and what he played over it was so bananas and so beautiful, so straightforward, but so bananas. It's like it like wrote it, like, the song was written here, and then what he did, like, changed the song, but it didn't. It just made it way more what it was. And I think in a traditional sense, someone would say, you know, I'd say, like, oh, I wrote that song. And, you know, maybe there have been times when I had, but I had to say Carter wrote the song with me, because just, you know, just the way he came in. And so there's that time. So sometimes, I mean, I guess there's some songs come out of jams. I guess this is what I'll say. 99% of the time I write the lyrics afterwards, which is why maybe so often they're gobbledygook. Trying to figure out a way how to screw a lyric onto something that's jumping all over the place. And so whether I write a musical thing or form or a song by myself, or the band gets together and we jam something, or it's a mixture of each thing, the writing of the lyrics sort of comes at the end. So that is, the process, that part of it doesn't change. I love when we're all free and there's times when I'll, say to Carter, play something like, play this, but there's also times where I don't say anything, and I would expect the same from him too. I do feel like very fortunate that we've managed to like keep this process. I've managed to keep this process a little bit of an exchange, rather than getting into a place where I'm telling everyone what to do, because I think so much more power in, at least in this band, we've all been together so much that with it, that there's more, if there's more noise to be had from other people that make things surprising.
Can I ask you something? Okay, so in your 30-year journey, you're the only act that has brought us to a stadium. You and the Chili Peppers, where it's 60 to 70,000 people. Being as though you've had a journey that started out, college gigs, small clubs, and you ramp up the theaters and whatnot, and then suddenly you have the ability to sell out football stadiums 4 or 5 nights in a row. What is your idea of musical happiness? Like, do you prefer small, intimate jamming situations with your band? Or actually, when's the last time you guys played in, like Toads up? Like Toads up in Yale, like a small.
Right. Well, we, often when we play outside of the country, outside of the U.S., we play in smaller places. It depends. There's parts of Europe where we do better, but we're more, in a weird way, we're more of a cult band in the rest of the world than we are, definitely, than we are in the States. I mean, some places,
so in Germany, where are you playing? Like, how many people are you playing to in Frankfurt, Germany?
Like 2,000 or 5, maybe I don't know, 5 to 2, 5, somewhere. We bounce around. Like we're Portugal. They like us there, so we do a little more.
Right.
We do a little more. We get a little more action in Portugal and Spain. We do all right. The UK is a little bigger, but then once we get, but then it's a different. It's the vibe is. It's so much fun to play to a different audience, an audience that we don't get to play in front of very much. Because we had this funny thing in the States that we kind of came up. Even though we have this, we've been lucky at times more than others to sell out big places.
Right.
We still kind of came up this way from our shows and sort of word of mouth, and so that we haven't had that opportunity as much in other places, and so our audience is sort of similar, but maybe a little more excited about listening to us in other parts of the world than
so
the States.
How can you plan? So that must be how can you plan a tour in which every territory varies in size? And I know that at your peak, your maximum, you guys are a fully operational, like 13, 14, 18-wheeler truck operation, maybe I would assume a 7 to 10 tour bus or private plane operation. Like, but then you're saying that, like, if you go to Glasgow, Scotland or something, then you might have to small scale it. So how do you route and plan that out, where some places you can play 90,000?
I guess we do them separate. So, we're going to go to Europe in the spring. And so then we'll think of it like, what can we do? And, we have
down.
Fenton, who designs our stages, and and does our lights and has for a long time, but since like the first year that we were together. But so like then he'll design a stage for if we're in Europe, and we'll be much, and and then we'll take our core crew, but we won't we won't need the biggest. So it's just like a logistical change, and a lot of it's not, and thank God it has nothing to do with me, because that would be a shit show. I was gonna I love playing in the smaller, different venues. We were down in Mexico, Mexico City, a few places at the beginning of the tour, and it's so much fun to play in places we don't go all the time. And it's one thing to play in Cancun, where it'll probably all be Americans, but if you go to Mexico City or Monterey or Guadalajara or whatever, then the audience is all Mexican people, and it's so much fun to play for a really different audience. And when we were down there, we had like a week or so, maybe a little more than that, somewhere around there, when we were just all rehearsing together, and that was fun, actually. I think a lot, hopefully some new music will come out of that. I think it's very fortunate, especially now. I mean, there's ups and downs, right? But the way the band is right now, I feel like is as much fun playing with these guys as I've ever had. So,
I was going to ask about that. Like, the band has morphed so much in the past, I don't know, 10 years. Like, how do you, where do you find the happiness?
And adjusting after life. Yeah. And adjusting. I'm going to add that to your question, Bill. Like, and adjusting to life after Leroy's transition.
Yeah.
Like, how do you?
Because Roy was like, Roy and Carter. Roy's like the first person that I went. It's like it's like you don't have better friends than him. He's a difficult friend, but and musically, he's just, there's no one like him. He was so unique. And Jeff Coffin put it beautifully one time, who plays sax with us now. But Jeff said what Roy had and didn't realize much of the time was he had his own voice, and that's like what every horn player dreams about. And it's true. Like, Roy just had this, like, I could hear a recording, like, just to hear one note, and it just like Roy, just the memory of him. But I think, so we really miss him, but and you go up and down, but right now, the way the band is, there's lots of gratitude, and because we're still paying for our own toothpaste, and so so that's good, and we're living well, and it seems like the audiences are still enjoying it. So that, this it feels like right now, the last 5 years or so has been a really good period for us. I really feel grateful about it. I also love playing, by myself. I also love playing with just me and Tim. I don't know, any opportunity to the change is good too,
To scale down. Okay. For me, I don't know when I do have a random question to ask.
Favorite restaurant?
No. Actually, wait. Speaking of Steve, this is I'm thinking of life with Steve and Jonas back when we were in the house together. All right.
Oh God, memories.
Hey.
Yeah.
Peanut butter in the fridge or outside the fridge?
Outside the fridge.
Outside the fridge. Agreed.
After it's open?
Yeah.
Yes.
Always.
Oh, y'all probably do that same thing with ketchup and mustard. Y'all leave that outside the refrigerator.
Wait, you leave peanut butter inside the fridge, Laia?
Yeah.
I mean, if you opened it.
Yeah, anything that's open should go in the fridge.
That's what y'all don't read the label.
But I mean, if you're gonna leave,
I don't read.
If you're gonna leave it on the shelf for a couple months, maybe,
Yeah.
But I, we go through our peanut butter. It's just and we get the crunchy all natural. But I think it's the same with the other ones. it turns into it's impossible
It's like
to spread
cement.
Oh, in the refrigerator.
out of the fridge. So you have to take it out and leave it there anyway.
It destroys your bread.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
if,
so-
if we're really gonna ask questions this random, I got a few questions of my own. for
Oh
Mr.
shit.
Matthews.
Oh
Thank
shit.
So
Dave's massaging his head. Here we go.
my first random question is: there's a famous piano player / arranger that did a lot of work on my favorite jazz label called CTI. His name's David Matthews. He's been heavily sampled as well, so Questlove might know who he
Yes.
is. And I was just wondering if, because of the name, did you ever meet him or cross over with him or have publishing issues with him in any way? Or have you ever heard of David Matthews?
Yeah, we've had some, but it's been more amusing than anything. I think once we ran into each other in and I do know him, but there was
God damn it! My only question, and he's
like
Did he
a
freeze?
tax bill,
No.
like a tax bill or something, or it's like he was, I think he may have come. So he had to call the IRS and say, "This
Oh,
is
wow.
definitely not mine. This is
Oh,
not my mistake."
wow.
His estimated it's got blown up by Dave.
Yeah,
Matthews.
Yeah.
I think he may have been like, no. That's that other guy that sounds a little like Kermit the Frog, and
Wow.
he doesn't do any arrangements.
Okay.
We had a amusing exchange, in an airport.
Okay.
Did it
I
a
have
bunch of arranging too, right?
Yeah. I think he's most known for his arranging.
arranging.
Yeah. So I have a second random question. Do you remember being at Electric Lady Studios in the late 90s?
Yeah.
It must have been 97, 98, 99 maybe. And smoking a joint with D'Angelo
Yes.
with two
Yeah.
other random guys. I was one of the other random
Wait
guys.
a minute.
I love that.
Wait,
Don't forget.
But wait,
I didn't know about this.
No, but listen.
It's before you was down.
So then, so now I'm excited, first of all, to be visiting D'Angelo in the studio, but now I'm fucking so fucking high. And then that's which is fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Then he starts playing the most insane. You'll agree with me, right? I mean, the music was so beautiful, was so insane. I mean, I hadn't heard any of it, so maybe you've been, listening to it again.
Was this voodoo? It was like early voodoo?
Yes, it was early
Okay.
voodoo.
But it was not what I heard. I mean, maybe
On the
it's fucking.
It took us 4
No,
years to
no.
make that record. Yes.
I'm telling
no.
you, it was so banana. The music he played, I left like, when you experience something when it's so beautiful that, you're partly inspired, and then you're also just like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh.
what am I doing? I need to just go
Question
back
yourself.
under the rock
Yep.
where you came from and shut the fuck up. And
Or makes you
people
it makes you raise your game is what it does when you hear music like that.
because like you sort of see possibilities. That was.
I think he was playing The
absolutely
Root.
Remember, it was so exciting.
Oh, the root.
Yeah, I think he was
Wow.
playing the song The Root.
Ooh, that's a good one.
But the reason you
time
don't-
out.
the reason you weren't there. This was like after. This was like vocal sessions that just went on for a year. So you weren't.
I know
there.
that, but tell me, how does Dave Matthews wind up at
He
Electric
just
Lady?
shows up.
Oh well,
Yeah.
that's my actual question is what album were you working on? Because you were there for a session.
Well,
I believe.
I wonder because I've done a few different things.
I think you were in your own. I think you were down in the B room, and
Yeah, I think-
D'Angelo was in the A room, and I think you had a nitrous tank in your live room. That's what I'm trying to confirm, actually.
Wow.
There could have been, but could we have been doing the Santana?
Oh yeah.
It might have
There
been.
you go.
Which I have to tell you, we planned that for a long time. I have to say, my son put on the song that I sang on that Santana record,
Mm.
and then I hadn't heard it in a long time, and I have to say, I'm not sure what was wrong with me. But I was a little soft on that song. Kind of irritates me when I hear it. I'm a little soft. I'm a little like, I don't know. I'm a little airy. I'm a little bit. It's like Kermit the Frog, like
You're a little bit
really
there.
tired.
None of us
And,
like what we do 10 years, 20 years ago.
Ever on Santana Records.
My son played, and I was, he's been getting into some Santana, and he listened to that, and he goes, it's. I said, oh, I sound terrible, and he goes, my son he confirmed it by going, it's not your best, Dad.
Oh, he's the best. He's the best.
This August is like takes you right to your heart, huh?
Yeah, he said it's not your best.
My
Dave,
daughter, same way.
Speaking of Santana, okay, so where did you get the idea? So the thing is that we're doing our first stadium show, and we're looking
By
at the
yourself?
audience.
This is awesome.
Yes, by ourselves. Like,
I mean,
we're
headlining. I meant, sorry.
No, we're doing our first stadium show, and the stadium holds like 70,000 people. But I think an accumulation of it, because we're the opening act, is the Roots, Santana, and then Dave Matthews Band.
Going back.
And there might be 5,000 people. Now, I just came from an arena show last week. I went to witness what I call Swiftville, or I had to see the operation of Swiftness in Pittsburgh, and no, it was something to behold, especially as an outsider.
Yeah,
looking
and in
at
our hometown.
Yeah, it was something to behold. But the thing is that
I know a lot of a lot of kids who went down to that. Just friends of friends that said we're going to Pittsburgh. So
see, I thought I'm gonna pick an obscure town that no one cares about.
Obscure, her hometown.
I didn't. I learned that after the fact. The town was so packed. I had to get a hotel in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
That's how
super
Taylor
close.
Swift, like anywhere she goes, she's going to bring at least $2 billion worth of business. So I want to science study just on that alone. But my whole point was that, so we're about to go out on stage, and then you come and you're like, I'm going to introduce you guys, and I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't happen. The opening, the headliner of the place isn't supposed to come out. The bride's not supposed to see the groom on the wedding day. And you came out, and it was as if the audience knows that you do that. Because instantly, like within 10 seconds, that shit went to like 14,000 people. And you not only introduced us, but then you stood on stage and watched us, because you knew that your fan base would come from their tailgate parties outside to watch you watch us. So where did you get that idea from? Because that's you didn't have to do that, but where did you get that idea from?
Well, it's probably pretty simple. So I had a few experiences when we were coming up. We had a few experiences where the audience was coming for the main act,
right,
and that was always it was quite often it was humbling, and sometimes things turned out well. I mean, we had a great time. We opened up for the Dead one time in Vegas, and everyone had warned us that the Dead audience is not into the opening act.
Yeah, man.
And then the funniest thing is they loved us, which maybe says something about us. They were all dancing and spinning around, they're having a blast. But it wasn't always like that. And but I remember one specific time, and it was, I think Carter and I went to, I think we were actually playing between this Blues Traveler had two sets. They were playing two sets, and we were playing between them.
Oh wow.
And,
okay.
And there's these two dudes right in front of me in the audience, and so my monitor's there, and then there's these two dudes, and they were just at the top of their lungs. They were screaming, like, essentially like, "Fuck you!" you fucking suck. Fuck you. Fuck. And it was like they would have taken a break anyway. They were so furious and they didn't stop. They were relentless. And then I kept like I could barely, I mean, that's all I could hear. And then I kept turning around to Carter because he's a great drummer, but he's also quite often my therapist. And I'm like, these guys are really fucking wearing me out. And Carter's like, just play the fucking song because they were wearing it out too. And we only had a few, but I always remembered that, and I always remembered like I wanted to say they invited us to come and play in between their fucking set,
right? And
right.
And so I guess that was the motivation was just that, like I was really excited that you guys were starting the show. Like so I was so I want to make sure that the like it's the whole show. And so that's how I felt about it. It was the same. It was selfish.
All right, so check it. You just reminded me of one of the most hilarious moments opening for you. Okay, so we did Philadelphia with you first. Then we did aforementioned giant New York, where I had to fire. Boop.
Oh yeah.
And then okay, so we get to Boston, right? And now we're kind of feeling ourselves like, okay, this is not intimidating. We got this, because even we were, we just started going to the next level. So this is all very new to us. So this is some Daddy Warbucks meets Annie sort of like experience for us, where it's like,
I love that metaphor.
That was good.
So analogy.
All right, so then we get to the first song, right? We get to the first song, and already this is the first day. This is the first day that we have the new implemented communication mics that we saw you guys having, right? So I'm realizing that we can play, do background vocals, and crack jokes, and so we're in our zone. And then
what was the first song?
Wait. This is all I know. I don't know, but this is what I do know.
Dynamite.
No, the whole audience was like saying like, and by the time we got to song 3, I was like, yo, we are killing shit, yo.
I know how this ends.
I was like, yo, dude, fucking, we down a little bit, but Dave Matthews might kick us off the tour for kicking his ass so much. Like we are fucking killing it. And the whole audience, right? I said, yo, we are fucking killing shit, y'all. Let's keep it up. And the monitor guy was like, actually, guys, they're saying Yankees suck. Yankees suck. And I was like, wait, what are you talking about? He's like, he has a Yankees cap on. And we
who had the Yankees cap on?
Tariq.
He's from Philly anyway.
Right.
But that's the thing. Tariq is not he's not a sports guy. He was just matching his outfit.
And
and like, but this was also in 2004 where
2004. Ooh.
Where Boston beat their ass. Right. Mm-hmm. So oh my God.
That's a pretty good story that
we thought we was killing it, and then Tariq was like, and then suddenly the audience was like, yes.
Now throw it.
No, he did.
Rip it to pieces.
And literally, and then Tariq was like, yo, I'm sorry, y'all. I was just color coordinating my outfit. Like I didn't mean any offense, and he threw it. And they just
Yo. Hey, quick music question since we on this, because Amir always talks about Dave Matthews Band and the Dead and Beastie Boys kind of being his blueprint as far as the structure of what they did in shows and stuff. Dave, when you were creating your band, was there other bands that you looked at in that way, like from a business structure or from just touring or anything that you were like, this is what we're aiming towards?
I was I have to say that I was going pretty blindly. And it was really you know, I was really excited about playing in a band, you know, and I was really excited about Leroy and Carter and Stefan. It just was like a, you know, and Boyd. I mean, it was just like there was something that was happening that was exciting, you know, like we were playing this one gig where it was like I think it was Earth Day, and it was one of our earliest gigs, and we were supposed to go on like second or first, and then the band that was supposed to go on after us said, "Hey, could you go? We got another gig, and so could you go later?" And we're like, "Okay." And then and that happened over and over again until I think we were the last band to go on, and it was an evening show, and it was on a mall, and I remember when we got up to play, nobody knew who we were. We didn't even know who we were. And then, but there was, you know, there's probably maybe there was 1,000 people there at one point, but when we went up there, there was 100 people or something. And, but boy, when we started, they all got up and they all started dancing. And so it was like this funny moment of like, we got something going on, and that sort of around Charlottesville, and then, you know, we started, you know, got a couple of odd gigs here and there, and they didn't always work out, but there was something that pulled us, and I think, you know, it was meeting the right people who had ideas about how we could get up in front of more people, and, you know, starting to play in universities, and the word started going around. I think the fact that we didn't have a lot of music, and we improvised, and we had to make shit up, and so the shows were varied and different. Like, I think that I remember there was a lot of colleges when we played that where people would say, "Do you know any replacements?" And we'd be like, "No." "Do you know REM?" We're like, "No." "You guys suck." You know, we'd get a lot of that too.
Well, wait a minute.
Also
So you're telling me that your college presence was based on filling in for other acts, because that's how we came up. Like,
no, and it wasn't. It was eventually. It wasn't that. I mean, it was like, but I mean, we went from like sometimes being accepted because somebody in a college liked us, to like, sort of like, you know, colleges were. We'd go to places we'd never played before, and everyone would be singing and we didn't have any music out, and everyone would be singing along. We got this little cult thing in the universities that was kind of crazy. You know, I remember we went up to, we had this nightmare where we drove over these snowy mountains. We were supposed to go around the mountains because it was the middle of winter in Maine, but we didn't. They sent us the wrong instructions, and we went over the top, and it was a nightmare. We slid down a mountain in a van with a trailer, and when we got there, we were pretty hot, and we were 2 hours late. They were like, "You're late," and, you know, we're like, "Fuck you." But then when we got on stage and we started playing, the crowd was really excited, and they were already, you know, wasted. But they all started singing all the music so loud, all the songs to us, and so it was kind of like this. What the hell's happening? We haven't even been.
Right.
We never even been over this mountain.
So what year was the sea change for you? Like, what year was the year in which, and how intimidating was it to, like, wait a minute, what do you mean we can play stadiums now? Like
I think it was really like in the 93, 94. It started growing, but 93, 94 did this like real. I mean, I remember getting to one of the guys who worked with us, one of our A&R guys, when we played before we had to put out an album or anything, but we were going to put out an album, and we were playing like Irving Plaza, I think, and it was packed. And the head of our record company said, how much money did we have to pay to get all these people here? And, you know, so much, it was so disconnected, sort of the record industry from what we were, was just that they had nothing. He didn't even, like, he had barely heard of us. And so, you know, it was a funny, it's sort of, we were almost like chasing, in a funny way. We were working hard, but we were like chasing our chasing the audience in a funny way. We weren't,
Right.
but they were chasing us. I don't know what the right analogy would be.
Yeah, it seems like it's a small amount of groups in this world that have existed that have a following in common like you. Like I was just talking to, I have a high school girlfriend that as long as y'all have been out, her and another girlfriend have been following you guys, and they've done like up the coast. They started at the top and they've gone down. These are Black girls, which is also kind of really dope too, because they say they see each other at Dave Matthews shows. It's like that's a whole nother contingency of like Black people who like really literally physically
Dave heads.
follow you. Yeah, it's really beautiful.
4 of my staff members are like true Dave heads.
Yeah. Shout out to Candace, Bobo, and Zinga Paris. They wanted me to say their names in this episode. And Zinga Brown.
I got a question. David,
Yes.
in the 30 years of touring and whatever, what's the best thing you've seen from the stage that you say on the microphone back to Carter that gets the best laugh from the band? What's the best thing?
I don't know. All I can think about is
Titties.
I knew it was nasty.
You know, and it was, it was definitely it was definitely Jazz Fest. Seems like Jazz Fest. There's a lot of titties.
But
I will
think.
I will say something that's funny. That if you just look a little further, like, because usually it's on someone's shoulders. So I think it's funny when the person that's carrying the person that has the titties doesn't know that the titties are out, and may not know. But sometimes when they find out, there's the sort of like suddenly there's people, and then everyone's excited. There's different nuance. It can be a nuanced situation where there's different emotional there's different there's different input, there's different excitement and different perspectives, not just
based on alcohol content too as well.
Anything.
There are not as many boobs nowadays as there.
Or
back
like
in the
different
day.
boobs, alt boobs, different boobs.
I have a non-titty question, if that's all right. So with regards to what we were discussing with touring, and you mentioned the Grateful Dead, and you mentioned you opened up for them once. So at the time, and I'm not sure if we're around the same age or whatever, but I was in 93, let's say. You mentioned I was 23, and in college we had seen a lot of Grateful Dead shows prior to Jerry passing away, and they were either winding down or he had already passed, and you were on an upward trajectory, or just come out in a way. And at least in my little group, it was like, well, what now? And then it was kind of like, well, Dave Matthews Band now. You were going to be the next band that people could literally follow around physically and travel around and tour with them and tailgate and have that whole kind of Deadhead type of situation. So did you sense any of that, or was that just between me and my friends where we had felt that you were the next coming of, let's say, that type of touring?
I think I think we had,
or that type of audience.
Yeah, I think we definitely felt like some. I definitely remember feeling like some of that was happening. But then that was all. I also think about like Fish were peers, and they definitely held that place. And then when I think about the bands that all sort of got, we kind of came up in that time, I suppose, somewhat a culture of 70s rock, and a lot of that being the Dead was like, if you think of, there was like Colonel Bruce, and there were all these sort of interesting bands that were also sort of a crossover with jazz and stuff. So there seemed like there was a sort of a groundswell of bands that were kind of doing that. And we were super lucky, obviously. And so I felt that. I remember we were in like within a couple of days of Jerry dying, we were in San Francisco. and I remember walking around, and people were like literally people were walking around the streets literally saying, "What do we do?"
Right.
No, it was kind of amazing to see these people who had like their whatever wherever they were in their adult lives had really been wrapped around that culture, and I don't think anyone will ever replace that or take over. But and we may have certainly gotten some of that or been in some ways similar to what they represent, and at times maybe more effective in our spontaneity than others. But
well, wait, can I ask you something?
I don't think that ever, they were so unique that I kind of felt, even though it wasn't as big a part of my musical upbringing, when I was in San Francisco and walking around and people were going like, "What are we gonna do?" Like I was like, "Wow, this is like a different world of musical devotion that I've never, I mean, the Beatles had theirs, but they never had anything like that. They never had like people going, what am I going to do?"
Right.
I mean, I remember being heartbroken when John Lennon died, but it wasn't going to change my bus schedule,
Well, when the Beatles broke up, there were people running around saying, "What are we going to do?"
Is jam band a 4-letter word to you? Because
you
guys are way more advanced than.
About to say.
You guys are way more advanced as musicians, as I'll say at least 80% of that circuit. I mean, there's some cats now like Snarky Puppy that's kicking ass, but
they are kicking ass. And then,
but they're not
jam band either.
But they're not right. They're not.
But it's interesting though, because that's
scripted.
I think it's where we didn't decide. You don't decide where you go, where you get put, in some ways. And so I don't feel like that. I never felt like we belonged to. I always thought that was a somewhat. It was just a term, a convenient term, sort of odd, and that and we got an audience and we get to play for them, and it and I, in a weird way, jam band, I don't know who came up with it, but it's, obviously jamming is people do that. But it seemed to be somewhat dismissive, it's like,
if someone's using jam band, it's usually in a disparaging way, like a critic.
They're jam band. Like it's all a fucking jam.
Well, the thing was, we tried to avoid it because I saw so many bands catching flack for it. But then, for us, I feel like, especially in the state of Black music, the band is dying, the group is dying, the level of musicianship is dying. So we have this this renewed vigorous purpose to literally carry the history of 100 years of Black music on our backs in our show. So we got to do break beats, and we got to do hip hop, and we got to do jazz, and we got so I think our thing is a little different. And also I'm just also in this place where I've learned not to manage people's expectations anymore. So, if you notice, I don't know if you know, it's not being at root shows, but I purposely stopped doing drum solos, maybe in 2007.
That's
because
not your thing.
Yeah, but I didn't want to get I didn't want to get pegged as a jam band. So I was like, I'll stop doing drum solos. But I mean, now I don't care. But it's just I think, his jam band might be my neo soul. I remember, I'm not neo soul. That's something that a carpet board made up. So that's why I wanted to know if jam band was a 4-letter word. So
I get where you're coming from with that too, but mainly as a dismissive thing. Because the funny part is that, when I first heard Carter, he was playing in a band called Secrets, and it's this most insane fusion band, and a bunch of different, Tim had played with them, and I think Roy may have sat in with them a few times. They were crazy. It was an insane band. Everybody was better than the other guy, and I used to watch them. And then Roy, he played anything, but I'd see him, he'd be playing jazz and beautiful, just, one of the first times I ever saw Roy, I just I couldn't even believe that this gem lived in this town I'd moved to be closer to my mom. You know, I was like, oh my God, this guy's insane. And Stefan was like this. He came suggested to us. So the backgrounds of where everyone came from was not from like, it wasn't because everyone was listening to the Dead, so we didn't have that connection to that idea.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I had one Dead album. It was acoustic record, and every time I start describing it, Dead fans go, "Oh, you had that record." So, and I loved it. It was a live record. It was a studio. It was the acoustic.
Yeah, it was at Radio City Music Hall.
So that's the one I had, and I bought it in.
Steve, you're a Deadhead?
I'm Deadhead adjacent. All my friends in college were Deadheads, so they dragged me to a bunch of shows. And you know, but as you guys are talking, I mean, there's obviously crossover between a band like the Grateful Dead and Dave Matthews Band, even though there's no direct influences necessarily. And then there's crossover in the audience between the Roots and the Dave Matthews Band. I've been at festivals where
absolutely
the Roots fit in great with quote unquote jam bands. The same set, you know.
Well, I think if anything, we've learned to shapeshift. So, you know, we've shapeshifted to any band that we open for. So it's
you
just
guys
like
live. I love it.
Yeah.
Did you ever meet Jerry that one time you opened up for him? Did you meet him?
I did not. We have this habit, and we did it with you know, a lot of the bands that we opened up for is we would just stay out of the way. And I don't know what it is. Just like we're going to open up. Like if we're going to open up for the Stones, just go to your dressing room and shut the fuck up. And and then the weird thing is that a lot of the time, then you do meet them. So you know, I get to meet Bob, or you get to, but I didn't meet Jerry that time. You know.
So you never done a Dead and Company or Phil Lesh and Friends or none of that?
I haven't. You know, maybe I have not.
Can I ask one final question?
Yes,
Dave, your band has covered a lot of tunes. Peter Gabriel, Bob Dylan. What's a song you wish?
Yeah, that's Sledgehammer. God damn.
The Sledgehammer slamming. It always has been. Whatever. But like,
Jesus
Dave,
Christ.
What's a song you wish you wrote?
we did it, right?
You did.
Yeah.
We did it together.
Uh-huh.
Long Island.
Yes.
My roots.
Yeah.
What was your question, Bill?
The question was, Dave, like, what's a song you wish you wrote? What's the one song you wish that you?
Well, Sledgehammer, but I was so outside. You know, I mean, that's an insane. That's a perfect song. You know,
Yeah.
It's like the whole. I don't know. It's perfect. I don't. It's impossible. There's a lot of songs I wish I wrote. But I, you know.
What's your favorite Beatles song?
That's an impossible thing to say, but
well, you answered the Starbucks question. You know, which is your favorite drink? You can answer this.
But like so quickly too. He knew like.
Well, I know if I pull over at Starbucks exactly what I can have. It's gonna,
right.
I know what it's, you know, but I mean, my mood will change.
Well, you know, there's got to be one.
Hey Bulldog is pretty. That's always.
There you go.
There you go, Amir.
That started work. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice. Hey Bulldog.
Hey Bulldog.
Okay, so before I close, I want to test out my rapid fire, my rapid fire random 10, which I think I'm going to lean more into that for future episodes. All right, Dave.
I'm really slow at this.
No. Just rapid fire. Say what's on your mind. All right, what is your secret talent that we don't know?
Oh, my secret talent. I think I'm pretty good. Maybe I could have been an artist in a different life.
Illustrator.
Yeah, I think I might have been a painter. Maybe if I
wait, do you paint in your spare time?
Yeah, I do.
All right. I'm a collector of artwork, so I'll be coming for you. Anyway,
we need more.
No, I got one. Text, call, or FaceTiming.
Text and FaceTime. Depends who it is.
No one calls anyone.
How many?
That's a shitty question. No one calls anyone. Who calls people?
I do sometimes.
Over 40.
Yeah.
People over 40 call. Trust me.
Yeah.
My wife calls me, and I always look at it, expecting her face to turn up. But then I always FaceTime her,
Yeah.
and then she has me in the cup holder or wherever.
Because some people think it's rude to FaceTime cold. You're supposed to text or something first.
Oh yeah, but
I
not
hate
my
that.
wife.
Like a
I
shot
hate that,
across the
yes.
bow.
Yeah, no, I text. I generally text.
Okay, so it's pizza night. You're ordering. What are you ordering?
Oh, this is pressure.
Fresh veg or a lot of meat.
Wow.
So wait.
Fresh veg or lots of meat. Either way.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, wait a minute, Amir. You got to ask him, if you're in Philadelphia, is it a cheesesteak or is it a chicken cheesesteak?
Ooh.
I don't want to. I got to tell you, I don't want to cross. I always want. You have to tell me where. This is how I answer that question. Where should I get?
Oh,
not
Ish kabibbles.
No, not
good answer, Bill.
No, I will from now on. I'm sending every comrade of mine.
Oh God, here you go.
JL, just shut up, like JL.
Oh, JL Jupiter.
Jupiter's yes. I'm giving them JL Jupiter's YouTube page, and he will lead them to the best steaks. All right, how many? I got 5 more left, and then I'll let you go, Dave. How many unread texts are in your phone?
That I have not read that someone else has sent me. Well, I suppose that's the only ones there'd be, right? What's
right now, there are 335 in my phone.
None.
$4.99.
No,
a Bishaw.
Well, I'm gonna text Dave Matthews and blow this shit up.
No, I don't always respond, but I always check my.
All right, so you at least check, but you don't respond.
But emails.
You're not an email person.
Like a million.
Oh Jesus,
not a million. I about
But Dave,
under 1,000.
Dave, you be careful of the read receipts, the red receipts, okay? Be careful of that since you're not answering them. You know, people can see when you're looking at the text messages.
Oh yeah,
you can hide it. You can hide it now.
I don't care.
Oh, okay.
That little thing that does this goes like.
No, it literally says we get a message that says he read it. He just didn't answer.
Right, exactly. No, but there's a switch button on your iPhone that can take that off. I immediately did that because everyone's like, I know you read it because it says you read it, and so I was like, nope, I'm not.
I don't trust that shit.
Sometimes I if it's like a holiday or it's my birthday, I'll just paste like thanks, love you, and
yeah. Oh God, yes.
I'd be like thanks, love you, thanks, love you, thanks, love you, thanks, and I mean it, but it's like that's sometimes you just have to take it. You have
like Happy Father's Day, thanks, love you, thanks, love you.
Back at you,
Happy Father's Day.
The quality one, back at you.
All right, 4 more. What's your ice cream flavor?
Oh, I love ice cream. But you know what? And it's probably not good because I love ice cream. There's a great place, Molly Moon's here in Seattle, that I love. But I love ice cream. But I got to tell you, there was my most emotional response. There's and it's I wish it was organic, but it's ice cream. I wish it was healthy, but it's ice cream. Is black raspberry chocolate ice cream. It's not, there's no lumps or chunks.
Oh.
It's a great
good.
No lumps or chunks.
I too am a connoisseur of the ice cream, so I'm that's different.
It's like it's made by, but I can't remember the chain. But I was really into it, and then I was like, I can't that's the only time I've had a really.
Didn't you have your own flavor? No, of the Ben and Jerry's.
It didn't make it like fish food. It didn't make it like Jerry Garcia.
Jerry Garcia is the king. Jerry Garcia.
That Jerry Garcia is good. The fish food is good too.
Fish food is a game change.
Okay, I gotta try it. I don't know.
All right, Amir, what's next?
Yeah, what's next? I'm sorry. Yeah, we're making your questions longer.
Okay. All right. What is actually?
Oh no.
It's a 2-parter. What time do you wake up?
Ooh.
And what are the first 3 things you do when you wake up that's habitual every day?
Amir, you are very good at this.
Okay,
go,
so when I'm at home, I like to wake up early and take my boy to school. Although that's going to end soon because he's
parenting.
but I like the process of getting up with him. But when I'm on the road, I don't have to do that. So, and then I like if I get up before my wife, then I don't do this. But if I do get up after her, I like to make the bed. And always the first thing I do is make myself coffee. I like to make my wife coffee, but I don't always know how she likes it because we're always changing. But I just like that's the first thing. I don't want to do anything else.
Okay.
That's what I want to do. That's what I do first. On the road, I coffee and then exercise.
Okay.
But at home, coffee and then wish I should be going to exercise. That's what I think. Like I've been busy, but it's been 3. I've been home for a few days, and every day I say tomorrow I'm going to exercise, and then I don't.
Y'all got a trick for that. All you got to do is put your workout clothes on in the beginning of the day when you wake up, and it'll make
I
you.
almost do. I look at my workout
Oh, I
clothes.
sleep in my workout clothes.
I know. I look at them, and then I go, yeah, but I'm going to put those other ones on, and I'll put my workout clothes on later. Sometimes I put on my workout clothes involve, just so you know, also involve like the compression knee things, which is good looking.
Yes.
Good looking. And so I put the compression knee things on. Sometimes I'll put the compression knee things on and my whole workout outfit, which is
like
pretty
blood pressure vibes.
amazing. And then I don't work out sometimes.
Because you're tired from putting on all that compression shit. That shit'll tire you out. Pulling shit up.
You say
Yes,
pressure medicine?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Last one.
3. No, it's 3.
Oh,
So-
shit. Last 3.
All right. If the universe granted you a 5-year extension,
Oh, it's like Aladdin.
if the universe grants you a 5-year extension to prolong your favorite age,
Ooh,
Did you
Shit is
chat
good.
GPT this shit? Like, what is happening?
you did.
I'm just I threw the script away and I'm just having a conversation
All
with
right,
my
fuck it.
friend.
Like
All right,
a
Dave.
If the universe allowed you to live 5
What's
years
your favorite age?
in your favorite age, what age would it be?
And why?
I this is what's coming to my mind, and so I have to say it. But I was going to say 56, which is what I am, but I'm because I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
But an age that struck me was 50. I didn't think when I turned 50 that I'd be that I would notice something, but I noticed something that I wish I noticed when I was 30, which is I didn't stop giving a fuck. But I stopped giving a fuck about shit that I shouldn't give too much of a fuck about.
Ooh, teach me, great one. Ooh,
Yes.
teach us.
Stop managing people's expectations.
Yeah,
Yes.
I stopped. I was like, did
Stop
I do
managing
something
their
wrong?
expectations. Right.
I didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
You're having a bad day. I want to be present. I want to be helpful. I want to be that, but I stopped caring. Playing music started to be easier because I felt like people would rather see me stick my tongue out and have a good time than when I'm playing on stage. Then they would want to see me wondering whether I am doing my job well.
Okay. All right. Second to last. This is existential. Is the grass greener on the other side?
I like that.
Fucking
That's-
fantastic.
Wasn't there a book in the 70s that was called "The Grass Is Always Greener Over the Septic Tank"?
Yes.
My
Timothy
my-
Leary.
Ooh.
Timothy Leary. Really? No.
Really?
No, I made that up. I made that up. Shut up.
Oh,
I made that up.
that
I
was-
totally fucking made
No,
that
that
up.
doesn't sound.
Moving on.
That doesn't sound right.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's like there's a rat at
But-
dinner. I don't know what's happening.
but we did actually have a septic problem when I was a kid in New York, and out on the front lawn, we didn't realize, but then the septic tank blew up, and we had to have it, drain, whatever you do, you had to have a new one put in, or they had to have it drained. I don't know what happened. Anyway, then tomatoes started growing on the lawn. And so my mom was like, free tomatoes. And my brother's like, I'm not eating
Shit
those
tomatoes.
They're poop tomatoes.
They're poop tomatoes.
Yeah, they went through us, and then they grew in the yard.
Wait, that's such a thing?
Yeah, I think if you poop tomato seeds, and you turn the soil,
no,
and then you turn the soil.
No, Dave.
Y'all fucking with us?
David,
No.
there's a
What
story
happened?
here.
My son said, my brother said, I'm not eating those tomatoes because I'm not eating those poop tomatoes. That's disgusting.
Did he say
I was like,
poop
I think the
tomatoes?
poop's gone.
This might be my favorite interview.
Did you know that, like there's weird things that happen, like is it a fig? The fig is the fig that in order for a fig to be
truffle.
No, in order for a fig to be to turn into a fruit to be fertile, a wasp has to have been to the opposite sex, and then get stuck in the flower, and then the wasp gets absorbed into the fig. So when you eat a fig, there's been a wasp that was absorbed. It's no longer there. There's not like a wing in there, but I'm just there's gross things out there.
It is, and Valley they use coffee made from shit, right? So
National Geographic, Dave Matthews.
Yeah.
All right, what's your last one, Amir? Go ahead.
Yeah,
Dave Matthews.
Okay.
How many push-ups can you do?
Go.
I think I could do 30.
No. Really?
That's impressive. He's
that is
56.
impressive. That's impressive.
Really?
Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
I'm not going to do them right now.
Amir,
No.
Amir, I thought you was going to ask the other question. Dave, yay or nay, microdose?
Yes.
Dave's a yay.
I knew he was with us.
Of course.
And sometimes
macrodose.
Dave, did you just not do a great interview on Howard Stern where you talked about how you wrote the title track to your last album on mushrooms? Is that
true? Shit!
It certainly was
fantastic.
Certainly some of it, because it was. I mean, it was they. Just for my good fortune, they are around sometimes, and mushrooms, and and that pandemic
elicits the mushrooms.
Seemed like a good time.
I mean, why not?
Dave, dog, this is definitely like doing a show with an old friend, because I hardly asked. I hope your publicist and your label ain't mad that we didn't talk more about song structure. And
sorry, the new record's great.
Yes. Sorry.
we don't need to. We don't.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
I really enjoyed talking. Now, this is what I want to talk about. What we talked about exactly.
Well, that was beautiful. Hopefully, we'll have you back on some more.
I really enjoy it. It's nice to hang out with you all. And I tell you, Amir, Quest, I'm always happy to see you.
Thank you, sir.
And I love your music, and I think you're unbelievable. And I love the work you're doing. And the
love is mutual.
How much that film meant to me, and or that series meant. It's just like I can't tell you.
Another Summer of Soul.
Thank you.
Made me
Thank you so much.
You already squeeze it, but I just made me so happy. Like it's like I love looking for the truth that's in our history, and I just and you did it so eloquently, and shared it with everyone. I think it's just magic, and so thanks for having me. And
thank you. Stop smiling like you, because she's smiling because she knows that
you're doing good.
No, I love the compliments.
He wasn't all Dave, he wasn't always able to take the flowers, so he's doing real good. He's still cutting you off slightly, but this is really good. This is progress.
I gotta go because I have another interview to do, ladies and gentlemen. No,
thank you, Dave. I'm hugging you.
I appreciate it.
This
is awesome.
Take care. Bye,
on behalf of Unpaid Bill and Sugar Steve, and Lightyear, the great Dave Matthews. We will and Fontigolo. We will see you next time on Questlove Supreme, y'all. Thank you.